So sometimes me and Dr. Shahab exchanged the views that how we spent the life over there and how wonderful it was. Yes,
True.
Yeah, it was.
it was indeed a good time over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So should we
So,
start formally? Should
till,
we, because the time we had given to the participants were the 6 p.m. So that's why we are just hoping that people are still joining. And so many questions we have received through the different platforms, emails, that please ask this question, please, we need this guidance regarding this point, this point. So a lot of questions. I hope we answer all of the question, but since shortage of time, we will not be having that time. But we will try to cover, and we'll have to some of the different things, as we know that you people have a blend of experience. So that would be wonderful to have you people on that. And Dr. Shahab,
yes,
yeah, how was your journey, PhD journey? So, but we will try to
it
cover.
was, it was pretty tough, because, I'm a banker by profession.
Yeah, true.
So the banking job is pretty tough. So I had a plan to, quit
Yeah.
banking. So that was my motivation to,
Uh,
because I had something very difficult, I
yes.
was stuck in a banking career,
Yeah.
I really wanted to get rid of. So that's why that relieves some of the pressure, like PhD is a pretty tough job as well. But when I look back, I have a banking career, and I cannot do a work like this for all of
Oh,
my life. So I need to do something.
yes.
That was my
Yeah.
strong motivation to
Okay.
get into PhD, and Alhamdulillah, it was a good experience.
Hmm. So that's
I
fine.
started from Pakistan.
Okay.
I did like coursework in Pakistan, and then we will discuss there's so many issues during
Yes.
PhD, and then I quit from Pakistan, and then I traveled to KL, and
Yeah.
uh,
Uh,
yeah,
and
that
then you
was
did have
good.
a wonderful experience over there.
Yeah, because Malaysia offers you a lot of, firstly, I was self-financed student, so
Yeah.
I can afford to go to UK or USA, Australia, something like that. So
Right.
Malaysia is pretty reasonable as far as your budget is concerned.
Yeah. True.
So also the food is good, the people are very friendly, so, and the system that they have, the universities are ranked pretty good, and
Yes.
we
World
see the
ranking.
ranking as well.
Yeah.
They
True.
they're always moving up in the ladder.
Yes.
So the Malaysia is perhaps the ideal or perfect choice for me. I mean,
Yeah.
so
We,
it was
we
very good experience.
yes, true, very true. And I think we did a very good decision on that time. I was much.
Yeah, if you look back, obviously, a lot of my friends are doing it from Pakistan, and they're still, in that process. They haven't finished their PhD yet,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So this is how
it was a very good decision.
yeah, so that's why we have planned this session, so that the people's problem could be solved, and so can they can imagine that what is going on in the Malaysia and else universities, and how can they cope up with the same thing, and how can they take advantage of such learned experience. So
Yeah, that's very good.
yeah, yeah,
You should learn from those who have done something already, so that
yes,
they can explain, and they make you understand, how you should proceed with
that,
whatever you are
yes,
aiming for.
yeah.
It's good.
So very good, very good.
Thank you for
Dr. Amjad,
arranging such a
yeah,
session
thank
here.
you so much. Dr. Amjad, would you like to
Yes, yes.
share how you came to this profession? It was by choice or it was by what attempt?
Uh, yeah, actually, what I can say, initially when I was in probably early my college, so I was most interested in military.
Okay,
I wanted to be an army man.
right.
That was my, first choice.
All right.
And then second choice was academics.
Okay, wonderful.
So I couldn't proceed with the first choice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't proceed with the first choice, but then I luckily managed to move with the second choice.
But that is much better than
And
that, I think. And
initially, after my MBA, then I
yes,
yeah,
yes,
exactly. Now I realize, and that time when I was applying, and then some of my mentors used to say that
yes,
it's not only military. There are
yes,
many more avenues in future that you can enjoy.
exactly.
I was not that much being convinced by them,
Okay.
but now I realize that this is actually something very good path, because it is giving us a multi-dimensional experience and
Yes.
international experience, which probably I may miss if I move to that path actually.
Yeah.
So
And
now, Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy. But before my academics,
yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I
Very
started
well.
with industry as well. So I
Okay.
worked for 5 years there. So that's why it was, somehow
Wonderful.
I got both
Yeah.
experiences industry. Yeah.
And thank God that you are in this field, because you are contributing much to this field, which is much needed, and you were born
Thank
with
you.
such qualities. So now you are in the
Thank you.
right path, and actually people are getting advantage out of your expertise and talent.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully I can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so nice of you. So I think we should start formally, because there are a lot of people has already joined us, and it's almost 6 o'clock. So we'll be introducing guests one by one, and then we start. So now you are in the right. Sorry. Okay. So Uh, welcome all of you, the respected guest. Thank you very much for joining us. So, viewers, today we have the distinguished guest speaker, and let me introduce the our guest speaker one by one, and a little bit of their profile. So, first we have the Dr. Maiza. She is the senior lecturer at University Technology Malaysia. Uh, at Azman Hashim International Business School. She has over 12 years of experience in teaching and supervision. And Dr. Maiza holds a PhD in Islamic economics from University of Malaya. She is also certified Islamic financial planner in Malaysia in 2019. She completed her postdoctorate research study in International Islamic University Malaysia. Dr. Maiza has also authored and co-authored more than 60 research papers, the book chapters for business, and she is involved in multiple research projects. She conducts workshops, seminars, and attended multiple conferences. And she received so many awards regarding the in academic as well as in the other platforms. She remained the 3 minute thesis winner in the competition as well. So, welcome to the Calvas platform, and thank you for joining, Dr. Maiza. Second, we have the our another distinguished guest speaker, that is Dr. Amjad Shamim, who is a senior lecturer at Department of Management and Humanities from University of Technology Petronas. He obtained his PhD from University Technology Petronas, Malaysia. He has over 12 years of experience in the industry, academia, and research industry. Dr. Amjad has published his work in multiple reputed journals, right from the International Journal of Hospitality Management to Environmental Sciences and Pollution Research. In addition to this, he has secured 7 research grants in the last 4 years from national and international funding bodies. He frequently conducts different workshops at different platforms on value co-creation, service design thinking, covariance based SCM modeling, the multivariant data analysis, inferential statistics, survey research, marketing research, and other. He has received multiple awards, for example, from the American Marketing Association, etc. And his research interest area are the value co-creation, service dominant logic, service thinking, service inclusion, brand experience, and neuromarketing. Welcome, Dr. Amjad Shamim, to the Calvas platform, and thank you for joining this session. Third guest speaker we have is the Dr. Shahab Aziz, who is the assistant professor at Behriya Business School, Behriya University, Islamabad. He has obtained his PhD from University Technology Malaysia. He has over than 11 years experience in academia and industry as well. He has published several research articles in impact factor journals, the ISI databases, the Scopus Index, as well as in the HEC recognized journals. In addition to it, he has well equipped with the both qualitative and quantitative research methods and data analysis technique using smart PLS. He has also participated at several international conferences as the session chair, and his research interest area is the Islamic banking and finance. So welcome to Kalwa's platform, Dr. Shahab, and thank you for joining us. And lastly, let me introduce myself as well. I'm Dr. Heather Shah. Also a senior assistant professor at Bahria Business School, and I obtained my PhD from University of Malaya in 2017. And since then, I'm serving the Bahria University from 2017. So, welcome all of you once again. And let me just ask the first question, which is the most popular question which student ask is the Dr. Maiza, what is the role of supervisor? It's a guide, a trainer, or what is the role of supervisor in our MS, MPhil, or PhD?
All right, Dr. Adil, thank you very much for the questions and thank you for the brief introduction about myself. So, yeah, when we talk about role of supervisor, um, the role of supervisor is basically different based on the student's need, right?
Yes.
As a supervisor myself and also as a head of the PhD program for UTM, AHICS UTM in biofaculty, I receive a lot of questions about this. So basically, supervisor plays a big role in the students' PhD journey. They play a role as coach, whereby they need to, guide the students, guide the PhD students, the master students toward the research objective, towards completing the research journey. They also play a role as a guide for the students. They sometimes also play a role as sometimes students need financial assistance as well. So they play a role in a way that they help the student to help the student to find a funding for the study and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, the role of supervisor is varies, but the most important thing is to guide the students throughout the PhD journey.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Amjad Shamim, supervisor is a person from whom we look a lot, and we sometimes we develop high expectations. So, what type of expectation as a PhD student or MPhil student should we have from our supervisor? Sometimes we overestimate the things that the supervisor will guide us or maybe conduct the data analysis for us, etc. So, how do you see the role of supervisor in terms of our expectation as a student from them?
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Heather. It's a very actually common and important question
Yeah, thank you.
because there are two ways. Sometimes students think that it's all about his supervisor.
Yes,
So
very right.
if luckily if we get a good supervisor, they are a good researcher. Otherwise, they cannot.
True.
So what I will say, it's not only about supervisor. As Dr. Maiza said, supervisor role is of course very important because not only from academic perspective in terms of transferring knowledge, but
Yes.
also as a mentor, as a father, as a brother, as a social friend, and so forth.
Very
When
right.
and especially when the supervisor is a friendly person, then it's a very good motivation for the students.
Yes.
But we shouldn't think that it's only that if they get a good supervisor, then someone can be a good researcher.
Yes.
Because it's a two way.
Wonderful.
So equal responsibility by both sides is highly important.
Wow.
Now,
Yes.
what I will say that, sometime by choice or by chance, we cannot get a supervisor who is into my area, into your own area. Number
Yes.
two,
True.
Probably one supervisor is very good in administrative side or is in management and consultancy, but may not be that much active in terms of publication, in terms of writing, and so forth.
Yes.
Right?
Very right.
Now, in that case, it doesn't mean that there is a problem with the supervisor. There is some, of course, everyone have some strengths and weaknesses and some
True.
limitations. Probably I will use the word limitations.
Yes.
So, as a student, it's our own responsibility to find the ways.
Mhm.
So, what I will say, it's about your motivation, it's about your passion. So,
Yeah.
you have to find out in supervisor what are the strengths and what are the limitations. You
Yes.
will not find out any supervisor with 100% perfection.
Wonderful. Very
It's your
right.
lens. Yeah,
Yes.
it's your lens that you can identify
Yeah.
what are limitations. Number
Yes.
one, if in first year of your candidature, if you manage to find out limitations of your supervisors,
Yes.
then you try to find out the ways to overcome limitations. You
Yeah.
will enjoy this journey with
Yes.
supervisor.
Wonderful. Dr. Amjad, you have given a very wonderful word to it. That is
Thank you.
the limitation. Yeah, it's a wonderful word you placed it. Yes, we need to consider all the limitation and things.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. And I hope the student get the real picture of that, how to use the different words in that research, and then how you need to overcome that thing. So it's a really wonderful answer. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your answer. Dr. Shahab, how to pick the right supervisor? Can you just tell us what is the criteria or what needs to be considered while picking the right supervisor?
Well, again, a very interesting question because
Yes.
as a student, you have to spend 3 or 4 years uh, under a supervision of an individual.
Yes.
So, choice of a right person is, you know, um, is vital for success of your PhD because we see a lot of dropouts in PhD as well.
Yeah.
Like I was studying a paper, they were saying that around 44% of the students just drop out in between their journeys. So there can be one reason of selecting a wrong person for your study. The first
Yes.
thing, I think the most important thing is the relevance of your research interest. So that's very important that whatever the study
Yeah.
you want to conduct or research you are intended to do, your supervisor should be from that specific
Okay.
area. So the interest should match right from the word go.
Yes.
Um, that's the most important thing. And secondly, there's another thing that whether your supervisor is a senior person or a young person,
Yes.
that's another thing. For
Okay.
example, if you have your supervisory experience, maybe he gonna give you less time for your because he might be busy in his other management roles as well.
Yeah.
And so as an individual, if you think you can take the responsibility of your studies, if you really have a good command on your study or area, then maybe you
Yes.
go for an experienced supervisor because he's gonna give you less time. And if you're not that much confident, then you can opt for a young supervisor who
Yes.
may be less experienced, but he at the same time maybe he can stretch you more. He can give you more time to your study. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's not something that um, fits everyone. So it's sort of subjective as well. You
Yes.
as an individual have to see who is the best fit for you. So that's how I see this. But the
Yeah.
very important thing is that the research interest should match. That's the
Okay.
starting point.
Wonderful. And then you have given the another perspective as well that there are senior professors and there are the other youngsters who are with the latest research skills and they have the time to supervise properly. Again, it's another very interesting one. You have to consider and match all these things. Dr. Maiza, if we do not have the choice to choose a supervisor by ourselves as a student, then what should we be doing to cope up with the situation in which the supervisor is imposed on you? then how, what strategies we need to do, or what to do as a student?
Okay. I did for the question. So before I answer that questions, I would like to add something
Sure.
regarding the previous questions asked to Dr. Shahab.
Yeah.
I quite agree with him that you should able to choose your supervisor in your own field. Yeah, if your field is banking and finance, so you should be able to find a supervisor who are expert in your area. That's one thing. The
Wonderful.
second thing is that you should also check the history of the supervisor first before you approach him or her to further your study.
Yes.
So basically, um, some students they just send the application to the university, to the faculty, without approaching the supervisor first, the potential supervisor, and then the faculty will choose the right or the suitable supervisor for the students.
Yes.
But the most important thing or the most correct way is basically is for you to approach the supervisor first before submit the formal application to the faculty or to the university,
Yeah.
because in that way you able to interact with your potential supervisor, you able to know the supervisor's attitudes, the skills and so on. You're able to interact with them first. Sometimes the supervisor will the potential supervisor prefer to have an interview first
Yes.
prior to accepting students. So it's very important to approach the supervisor prior to submitting your application.
Yeah.
So regarding your questions on what if the student have no choice, meaning that the faculty or the university choose the supervisor for that particular students.
Yes.
So if the students have no choice, so basically you have to find a way to interact, to adapt with the supervisor behavior, with the supervisor attitude, and you should be able to know their the supervisor's behavior. Or based on my experience, supervisors are varies. They have their own attitude, they have their own behavior. Some supervisor prefer to communicate via email. Some prefer via WhatsApp or message, for example. So you should know which is their preference.
Yeah.
So, for example, some supervisor they reply often via WhatsApp, not email.
Yes.
So you should know their behavior on that.
Very right. Very right. Thank you for
If
elaborative answer. It's a very interesting one, and people they should be listening and understand. Try to understand it. That once you are given any supervisor, they need to adopt it and they need to manage the things with them as you recommended to them. Yeah, very wonderful. Since all of you are PhD doctors and a lot of experience you have, and you have the industry experience as well, Dr. Amjad Shamim, can you tell us what is the right time to do a PhD? I mean, there is a perception that a student get first 2 to 3 years experience of industry and then they should come to academia in order to have the ground realities and to understand the background. So, what do you recommend, and how do you see? What is your perspective that what is the right time to do a PhD?
Okay, that's a very also interesting and useful question,
Yes, sir.
because now it's actually 21st century, and there is a new, what we call it, wave, which shows that if you don't get a job,
Yes.
just go for PhD. So therefore, right after your graduation, many starting PhD, and then after PhD, then they are thinking to go for a job.
Yes.
What I have experienced so far as my own tenure, as well as now I'm supervising about 7 PhDs. What I experienced, those people who came after industry experience,
Yeah. Right.
they are well mature.
Right.
They can adjust into this discipline easily
Yes.
because they know about organizational culture. They
Right.
know what's going on in industry. And especially when you go to a class, this millennial students are not that much silent, that they are passive audience and they are just looking for whatever you are teaching.
Yes, very
They
right.
are also very much knowledgeable now. So you have to deliver. You have to make somebody who is in the class who is able to deliver with experience.
Yes, very
So
right.
if you are coming with a background of industrial experience, actually that's a very positive edge for you. And then not only that you will easily continue your research, but you can adjust to that institution, you can adjust with your supervisor, as well as once after that you go to the classes, then you will have a very different delivery experience as compared to the person who is directly coming to the academic. So I will highly encourage, go to
Yes,
industry, learn, do mistakes, again do
yes,
mistakes, but
yes,
learn from the mistakes, then come to
yes.
academics and then enjoy this life.
Yes, wonderful. Uh, you
Right.
have pointed out very interesting point that they know the culture of organization. They have the practical experience, which will actually help them to understand the things in a better way as they could understand in the later way. So very rightly said. Wonderful. Dr. Shahab, please shed some light on this. What is the right time for a PhD? I mean, Dr. Shamim has said very rightly that we need to have the kind of experience so that we know how to interact with the supervisor, to have the background of that organizational culture, and etc. etc. There is one thing more I want to add, that as Dr. Amjad Shamim pointed out, that if you don't get the job, you just go for PhD. Do you think the PhD is the fast track career? Uh, should people come to the PhD just because you have the better career opportunity, or you may have the good status or title of doctor, or you have a good package? So, how do you see it?
Yeah, firstly, I agree to Dr. Amjad, but he said that experience always help and students are more mature,
Right,
than.
very right.
But the other side is that there should not be a too long delay before you jump into PhD. Maybe that might not
Message to
help you. So
Chatti Garage.
there should be a balance, to if you got like few years experience, 2 or 3 or 4 year experience, I think that's fair enough to um, jump into PhD. But if you keep it delaying for too long, maybe it's not good. You might lose the motivation as well, because PhD at the end of the day
Message to
is not pretty easy task. I mean, you need a lot of energy, commitment, and at times you have, like when you grow and when you get older, you have some family commitments as well. So a lot of people I see that they want to do a PhD, but the circumstances doesn't allow them to do. So
Yes,
you need to strike a balance between jump into PhD. So that was the earlier question. Now,
yeah,
like, look, PhD is not for everyone, right? I mean, it's something for the life. So
true.
if you're really passionate about something, like if you want to be a researcher in your life, you have a passion for that, do go for it. But it's not that everyone should, because nowadays there are a lot of other avenues as well. I mean, there are a lot of jobs in different fields are coming up. There are a lot of new fields are like artificial intelligence, data mining. uh, these disciplines were not existed when we were studying. So nowadays, the students have a lot of options to explore as well. So don't restrict yourself that PhD is the only option. You
Yes,
should do PhD if you're really passionate about research and you want to make a contribution, or for academics. It's obviously it's a must. You need to
okay,
have a PhD. If you want to career in academia, then obviously you have to. But otherwise, there are a lot of other options as well. So
yeah.
you need to see your strengths and weaknesses, see your potential, where you really fit in, right? don't jump because others are doing, and because you have a peer pressure or you want a title. Obviously, these are not the probably that's not the right approach, I would say.
Okay. So wonderful. It's very nice to hear. Uh, all of you respected guest speakers, can you join us again because our remaining time of the Zoom is less than 4 minutes. So please join us again. Thank you. Boleh, boleh, boleh. Boleh. Boleh, mati. Maka ada kira ji. Boleh. Da var que kan ga bo ki kan. Thomas Brigda also ki kan. Streaming बगल बंद करना. खलास है. ऐसे पड़ा था. देखिए हुआ the session supervisor के लगे after फिर वाली खबर का. Okay, so it was wonderful, and Dr. Maiza, we have very wonderful discussion on that thing. Yeah, most of the students I'm getting the feedback on that. Actually, it's very interesting to hear the different blend of experience of the speakers that they are discussing. Yeah, it's very informative as well for them. And since you know that PhD is more about the guidance, this is how we learn that from the guidance of different teachers, speakers, and the professors, we learn a lot from their experiences. So this is how actually we are growing. So another question, Dr. Amjad Shamim, please. What are the skills required for PhD student?
Okay. Yeah, for PhD students, I think just now Dr. Shahab rightly mentioned it's your life.
Yes.
So if we don't have those skills, sometimes we some people can easily complete PhD. It depends again on the situation on the university. So it's not only about completing PhD. When I was doing my master degree, some of my professor used to say
Yes.
that actually the actual research start after PhD.
Very true.
And that time we were not believing in them because we thought it's all about PhD. Once you complete PhD, your research is over. You don't have any tension.
Yes.
But the day I graduated, actually my tensions of research started from there onward.
Yeah.
So now, if you manage to develop your right interpersonal skills, your writing skills, your thinking skills, you will be able to complete your PhD. Number two,
Yes.
you will be able to survive after PhD.
Wonderful.
But if you do not manage to develop those skills,
Yes.
by chance, you may be able to complete your PhD, but it will be very difficult for you to survive after PhD. So I will say
Very
the most top important skills that everyone should have is thinking skill,
wonderful.
writing skill, and
Yes.
then interpersonal skill. These are the
Wonderful.
three of them. And number four is you must be a social, what we call it, a person who is social in life. Because after PhD, you
Yes.
cannot work alone. You have to work in collaboration. You must have
Wonderful.
tolerance to work. Some
Yes.
people, when you join a group, some people are aggressive, some people are demotivated, some people are have different background. So you must have a flexibility of adjusting yourself in a group of people who are from different backgrounds. So you
Yes.
must need to have a social skill whereby you can adjust with any kind of person. And
Yes.
then later on, when again you are going to the classes, again you will find out a diversity of people. So you
Yes.
must have a tolerance skill as well to
Wonderful.
survive in this world. Actually,
Yeah.
that is my intake on that.
Wonderful, Dr. Shamim. You have a very wonderful insight on that. And you
Thank
have
you.
actually addressed my second question, which was a lot of students were asking that what kind of cultural intelligence we should have as a PhD student, which actually you referred to as diversity, that as you are a PhD student, you must have a absorption towards the diversity and other things. So cultural intelligence is very much important for a PhD student. And as you mentioned very rightly, that is the research group which we join mostly, that is again based on diversity, different people from different background, from different religion. Again, it is very important to have the that kind of tolerance, cultural tolerance. Wonderful. The same thing, Dr. Shahab, you have also been abroad, and you spend time with the people from different background, from different religion, etc. How much this cultural intelligence plays a role in as a PhD student?
Yeah, adding further to the previous question, the
Yes.
skill related to the technology. I mean,
Yes.
you should be very good in the use of IT, because nowadays we use a lot of databases, we use a lot of softwares, and as a student, if you intended to do into PhD, you need to have very good skills as far as the technology is concerned,
Yes.
because that can, you can ease your pressure. Yeah, the technology will really help you out to, for example, nowadays we if we go for a systematic literature, we can quickly grasp the latest literature, and we can find out research gap, which is very difficult. But if you are very familiar with these databases and you are good in technology, you can quickly move into this PhD, and you can ease your pressure as well.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. And the culture, yeah, the culture is obviously very important, because especially student like from Pakistan, most of the us we travel abroad for our PhD for a number of reasons. And the culture are different, because we have to interact with a lot of people over there, and coming from a different society and different culture, we need to
Yes.
quickly understand what are their likes and dislikes, different habits and these things, because especially the supervisor gonna be from a different culture. So
Yes.
you need to be very smart as far as your culture intelligence is concerned, so that you can quickly um, bridge the gap. Maybe there can be a communication gaps as well, because you
Yes.
have to communicate frequently with your supervisor, with your colleagues, and that's very important for PhD. You
Yes.
cannot doing one thing that supervisor always advised when I was student as well.
Yes.
Don't be in isolation. Try to interact with the people. Try to
Yeah.
discuss with others,
Yes.
share your ideas with others. So
Yeah.
this can only be done if you are very smart in understanding the culture of
Yes.
the other people. So culture, understanding of culture really helps you out in moving forward in your PhD, and
Yes.
you can relieve your pressure as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're unable to communicate and understand other culture, the PhD is a pressure stuff anyway, so they're going to add further pressure on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's why we see a lot of dropouts and a lot of
Yes.
people collapse in between PhD as well.
Yes.
So this can be one reason as well.
Yeah.
When people go to different countries, they don't understand their culture, and eventually they end up, losing their path. So
Yes.
this understanding is very vital
Yeah, and you
for
have very rightly
most
pointed
years.
out one thing, and that is the loneliness. Most of the PhD students, they feel the loneliness in the journey, because since you are walking this journey alone, this is only belongs to you and your supervisor only guides you in that. So sometimes we get that kind of feeling that I'm isolated. Yeah, very rightly said. Dr. Maiza, can you tell us what does future hold for upcoming PhDs? Their concern for their future about the PhD, that a lot of students are being graduated, and there are now less opportunities for the research projects or funding. So how do you see the future PhDs, the upcoming PhDs, and their career path in that perspective?
All right. Yes, I quite agree that lots of PhD students graduating every year. So it will, the placement in academia might be, quite difficult for the fresh graduates, for PhD holders.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the future holds for PhD graduates, most students are in the knowledge that when you join a PhD program, you want to go for academia. Academia way,
Yes.
meaning that you want to join as an academician, you want to join a university, but there are lots of future opportunities for PhD holders. Basically, when there are lots of PhD students graduating each year, so you should be able to, look at the future. What are the future holds? Basically, other than just focus on the academia, you should look at other opportunities as well. For example,
Yes.
Research department in any of the companies. Because basically when you're graduated from a PhD study, you have lots of skill.
Yes.
So you should be able to know your strength and use your strength to develop your future, to look at the opportunities that you can hold after your graduations.
Yes. So you must have that kind of understanding and see the industry, what is going on there, so that you go with the tides, right? Wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. Dr. Amjad Shamim, there is one most common question the PhD student asks all the time, and I usually ask the different speakers on that. What is the most difficult stage in the PhD? I mean, literature review, data analysis, or conclusion, or which part is the most important and difficult one, and how do you recommend the solution for that?
Okay. Well, I will connect this question and its answer with Dr. Maiza input as well,
Okay.
whereby she used to she just now mentioned about opportunities in industry, which is very logical because the future is very challenging.
Right.
And after a few years, you will, of course, our market will be full and you will be facing trouble. Even now, we can see that
Yes.
it's very difficult to get a job even after PhD.
Yeah, true.
Now, connecting the same with Dr. Maiza's answer, now I will move to your question that
Yes.
what is the most difficult part? So to me, it's the most important, difficult as well as important part is choosing a research topic.
Wonderful.
What I will suggest, what I will say that please choose a topic that you can survive on that topic for next few years.
Very right.
It's not only that you just finish your PhD, but
Yes.
your topic should be in a way you can fit into academia, you can fit into industry, you can even start your own business in terms of consultancy, in terms of training, and so forth.
Yes.
But if your topic is just a time being that you today you finish your PhD, tomorrow is obsolete from the market,
Yes.
then you will face trouble in terms of surviving after PhD.
Wonderful.
So to me, the most difficult as well as the most important part of your PhD is choosing a research topic. Number two,
Wonderful.
once you choose research topic, how sure you are that this topic is up to date and useful for both academia as an industry.
Right.
So for that purpose, the second difficult part is going into the literature, in-depth understanding of the literature,
Yeah.
and making sure that whatever you assume is truly right.
Yes.
I have seen many people, they from the day first they start thinking about data analysis. Oh my God, which technique you will use? I will use SCM. Oh no, I will use PLS.
Very right.
Yes, those are techniques.
Yes.
Everyone will learn, can learn. Your colleagues can help you, your supervisor can teach you. But that is only a one part of your PhD, of your research. We
True.
must be worried before moving to the data analysis. We must be worried about our research topic and its real importance in academia and industry. So I will
Yes.
focus on that part and
Yes.
heavily.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Right.
That's very interesting. And Dr. Amjad, what I usually say in different classes, particularly in the PhD class, that choose your topic wisely and choose your supervisor wisely, because that will keep motivating or demotivating you for next 2 3 years or to 5 years. So rightly said, if you have a very good topic which will help you both in academia as well as in the industry, only then you can get the funding and all these things. Very rightly
Yeah.
said.
Some people, just to add in, some
Yes.
people used to say, actually, you are marrying with your topic. So if
Very
you
rightly
you
put.
can, you can only live happy life
Yes.
if you are this another wife is actually right.
Right,
So
exactly.
that is what you have to be conscious and be careful on these two sides. Both
Yes.
will make your life either happy or unhappy. So i
Yes.
hope i hope that is a
Yes,
important point.
very rightly said, very rightly said. And this is how the student approach to the different supervisor, that please give me the topic and these all these things. I referred to what you actually referred to it as that it must be of your own interest, and because you have to be motivated throughout the journey, and it will only be possible if you have a very good topic, and for that you need a lot of literature review in depth, which you referred exactly. In depth literature review will tell you what to do and how to do. Very rightly said. Dr. Shahab, can you just tell us how to prepare for PhD mentally and emotionally?
Yeah, firstly, I would like to add something to the
Yes.
previous question.
Yes.
As we all believe that the market is very much saturating for PhD as far as the academics is concerned, and the student should look for other avenues as well, like working in an industry. So for that, the advice for the student is that they should have they should bring in quality and skills during their PhD so that they can work for the industry. And their approach should be like problem solving approach. Like if you're going for a PhD, try to aim for a topic or something that more closely should solve a problem of any industry. In that case, you will learn um, how they're gonna help in industry. At the same time, you're gonna bring in some skills as well, because at times we are focusing too much on theory and theoretical contribution in
Yes.
PhDs.
Yes.
So which is might not be very close to what industry is looking for.
Yes.
So you need to be very smart uh, in choosing your topic and spending these 3 4 years that you should bring in a lot of skills and expertise in your PhD,
Mm.
because the we see the lot of difference in quality, right?
Yes.
It's up to you as an individual how much you want to gain in these 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Might get a degree by uh, putting an average effort as well. But
Yes.
the PhD, the one who has done a lot of hard work, will be far ahead as in terms of skills as compared to the other person. So if you're really going into this degree, make sure, because the future is very challenging, right? So make
Yes.
sure you really put a lot of efforts in these 3 4 years, and come up with the very good skills so that you can sell those skill in industry, because industry not going to give you money. They are
Yes.
very smart people.
Yes. Very
So
right.
you have to you sell yourself, right? So
True.
you have to be skillful
Yes.
and knowledgeable enough that the industry feels that you can solve their problem. You can bring in more business for them. That's where you can be paid and you can be hired as well. So
Yes.
this was something I wanted to add in previously.
Yeah.
The
Very right.
next,
Very right. Yeah.
now your question is related to the motivation or something. Can you repeat the
Yeah.
question?
Yes. How do you prepare yourself emotionally and mentally for a PhD? What tips would you recommend?
Right. Look, when you aim for something, like you want to spend your 3 4 years in a tough journey, and then you'll continue research. So definitely you will be having some aim and objective in your mind. So because PhD is tough, you will feel at times very down in terms of your motivation.
Yes.
Maybe you feel a lot of criticism as well. At times, you are not progressing. You're not doing good progress as well. So there will be pressure, and you need to look into the bigger picture of why did you started your PhD? There must be
Yes.
some objective. That's why you're doing. So
Yes.
if you feel motivated, look into the bigger picture.
Yes.
Like you must be having some aims and ambitions when you
True.
joined. So keep your eyes on your aims and objectives,
Right.
and these short difficulties will definitely will end as well if you'll keep your focus on those big picture. So
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
eh,
Dr. Amjad Shamin, there is one question from the audience, another one. The Dr. Nadeem Awan wanted to ask a question that what about PhD in criminology? What is the future for that? Can we conduct the proper research on PhD, or can we get the funding out of that in criminology? What is the future for that PhD candidate?
Mike,
Dr. Amjad Shamim, can you
Okay,
hear
I was
me?
as I please.
Ji, ji.
I was
yeah.
mute actually. Okay.
Oh, sorry,
So
sorry.
what I will say for criminology or whatever is your discipline,
Yes,
it doesn't matter. I will repeat one statement. When I came to University Technology Petronas,
yes.
that time our department, PhD in management was new,
Okay.
and one of my co-supervisor that time, his name is Professor Muhammad, already retired now. He was very senior. He did PhD in 1970s from Cornell in
Oh,
applied sociology. So he was very senior professor.
okay.
And in first meeting, he told me one thing. He said, Amjad, you see,
Mhm.
when you will move around in this university, this is an engineering university, and you will find out everyone is engineer,
Yeah.
and you never think that you are into other world, because after PhD everything will be balanced. You will be into the equal level of those who are doing PhD from engineering. It doesn't depend on the discipline as such, but it depends on how much you are going to contribute into that specific discipline. So
Okay.
I will say again to the same question for criminology. It's
Yes.
actually somehow a good area, but it depends that what is your background, and especially let's say if you are working in a military or in a somehow police services or accountability services, then of course that is an interesting topic. But
Okay.
let's say if somebody from after a bachelor in business management going to criminology,
Yes.
so of course later on he will be facing trouble in terms of
Trouble.
finding jobs. So
Okay.
choose the topic or area which is relevant to your profession. That
Yes.
is my intake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful suggestion for that. I hope Dr. Nadeem would take advantage of your suggestion. Dr. Maiza, since you are supervising different students, so can you just tell us what type of mistakes the PhD students normally make?
Okay. To explain about mistakes, yeah,
Yeah.
I have experience supervising several students from different countries,
Yes.
different gender, different age. So when we talk about mistakes, basically, not to say mistakes, but basically, the students are having difficult time in a way that they have a very limited time, they have a very limited fund, for example, to complete the study. So sometimes they try to avoid risk, meaning that some students, like Dr. Amjad shared to us just now, some students, they depends on the supervisor totally, from day one,
Yes.
even to choose the right topic for her or his research. So basically, when we talk about mistake, yeah, basically, students sometimes they have a challenging time, so they have difficulties finding a right topic, and then they sometimes unable to control themselves. They unable to properly plan the
Yes.
study, which is very important.
Yes.
Basically, when you enter into the PhD program, into PhD study, you should have a proper plan. You should know what you should do throughout the PhD progress. You should aim for the best, meaning that you should know that you want to complete your study in 3 years, for example. So by having that particular plan, by having that aim, you're able to try to minimize the mistakes. You focus on your study, and then you able to progress more.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
good.
maybe Dr. Shahab wants to add something.
Yes, Dr. Shahab.
Yeah, as a like a student, uh, at student, they jump into conclusion very early, without doing proper literature review at times. That's the one mistake.
Yes.
And um, not planning properly. PhD at the end of the day is not is a you need to have a very good management skills as well,
True.
because you collect a lot of articles, stuff like that. You need to be a good manager as well. At times, the student lack expertise in managing their resources, because they are not good in technology, so they lack those resources. They are poor managers, and you need to be a good manager, a good
Yes.
planner. So
Yes.
you need a very good management skills as well. So it's not just a degree, it challenges you on a lot of other fronts as well. You need to
Yes.
be mentally very strong, you need to be
Yes.
emotionally very strong, you need to be a good manager. So you need a lot of other skills as well to be on the right track and
Right. Right.
complete your studies
Yes.
within the given time. So we
Yeah.
see a lot of people like they continue their study for 5 years or 6 years, something.
Yes.
It's
Very well.
because they have been unable to manage, they have been unable to plan things properly.
Yes.
So if you're a good manager, you can have a smooth journey. Otherwise, you can be in trouble.
Yeah. There is one another question from Mohammed Owais. He wants to ask that how would you fix the responsibility of the student and the institution, because institution does have a role in student motivation as well as in learning. So how much one should investigate about the institution before opting for a PhD? And that leads to another debate, that nowadays there is a debate that which university you are targeting and what is the world ranking of that university, because nowadays during even appointment at different university, it is being considered that from where you are graduated, from where you did a PhD, and what is its world ranking, and then it comes to the supervisor and other things. So Dr. Amjad Shamim, can you tell us what is the criteria, or what is the different things which needs to be considered while opting for the institution? Because institution will also motivate or demotivate you while doing your PhD.
Yes, very well said. Actually, institutions, of course, play an important role in building you as a good researcher as well as a good human being.
Yes.
Because again, in institutions, it depends on the culture. If some of the institutions is a research culture, they have high research culture, your output, your way of understanding, learning,
Will
facilitation that you will be getting during your PhD will be different. But if one university or institutions, its focus is only on the teaching, by chance or by choice, they have to start PhD, and that time their main focus on teaching. So you will not enjoy those kind of facilities as well as the culture. So of course, institutions play an important role. And talking about the choosing an institutions, of course, earlier also someone, I mean, in the panel just now we said as well, choosing a right supervisor. So I will say that it's of course institution is important, and you have to see that whether your discipline in your discipline that university is at what level.
Mm.
But again, what I will say, these are somehow common kind of understanding that some of the people are always thinking that it's only about the institution. If they can get into QS ranking, and then they will be
Yes.
able to be a good
Yes.
researcher. Otherwise, they cannot.
Yes. Very right.
I will say we have to be positive.
True.
If you can get opportunity in MIT, go for it.
Yes.
If you can get opportunity to work with Professor Philip Cutler, go for it. Of course, that is awesome. But
Yes.
let's say due to any reasons, and not everyone will be able to get with in those institutions which are high in ranking, and luckily you are getting a person who is very renowned into the discipline.
Yes.
So let's say if you cannot go into that one, it doesn't mean that you cannot be a good researcher.
Very right.
Because if institutions, of course, even you go to a very top university, there will be limitations. You will not find any place on this world that can satisfy everyone 100%. I will say
Yes.
everyone,
Yes.
because people have different choices.
Right.
So I will say you have to do the analysis. What is your focus? What
Right.
is your objective long term? Let's say if you manage to find out a very good opportunity of any institutions, well and good. If no, if you have started in a normal university, then
Yes.
try to learn how to overcome the limitations. That is
Yes.
very, very important.
Right.
So number two, we always think that, let's say if I join one institution, there are a lot of limitations. Again, we have two things. One is always look other universities what they have, this university don't have. Start complaining, start criticizing, and so forth. You are
Yes.
wasting your time. You're wasting
Right.
your time because that is not in your control. You have decided to choose this university. Now it's not in your control. Why to waste your time on those kind of things? Instead,
Yes.
use that time for learning. You can collaborate with the person who is in MIT, or who is in, for example, any other institutions which is in the top ranking university. And
Yes.
my experience is that even people from very top ranking university, when you approach them,
Yes.
many of them are very happy and willing to work with you.
Right.
They are okay people. Many are very interested to work in international collaborations. So
Mm.
I will say, if you are in institutions where there are limitations,
Yes.
you as a person try to find out how to overcome limitations. You can collaborate with the people from other universities, other disciplines, other institutions, so that you may not waste your time on unnecessary things, rather utilize your time for the better outcome.
Yes. Wonderful. And you rightly said that institution matters, but not that. So it means it is more inclined towards the individual efforts.
Yes, I will say that individual efforts matter a lot.
Right. Right.
I know some people, they graduated from very top ranking universities in very different countries, not to name.
Yes.
But after PhD,
Yes.
believe me, their
Yes.
profile is stopped.
Oh.
Their profile is
Right.
stopped.
Right.
So university from UK, United States, Netherlands, university will not come to your country together with you. It's you who will bring the culture, who will bring the
Yes.
learning from there. And
Exactly.
I know some people, even from our local normal universities, they graduated, and
Yes.
their profile is going in a 120 speed.
Yes.
Why that happen? Why
Yes.
not to follow that path that
Exactly.
can build my own profile, that can make me a person, even if I'm from a normal university, but I have to find out a way how to overcome those challenges. That
Yes.
matters most in your academic career and research careers to me.
Exactly. And that is the inspiration for the younger PhDs who are in the local universities or in the normal universities, that if they can direct their efforts in a right way, they can achieve a very big profile and they can make it very easily.
Yes.
Yeah, they can go for the collaboration, as you mentioned earlier, that from good institution, they are always welcome you as a research collaborator. So we can always have
Yes.
that kind of collaboration with the different researchers in order to enhance our research group as well as to learn from their experiences and their expertise. That's very nice.
Exactly.
And some of the very good example, as you quote, that even from a very low profile university in Pakistan, their PhD candidate now performing very well and they are publishing in a high impact factor journals. So it means it is a learning curve which can always be improved by individual efforts. Yeah, and this is
Yes,
how
correct.
we
100%
grew.
agree.
Yes, it's very right. uh, Again, we have the less than 5 minutes for this session. Can you just please log in again, all of you, please? Thank you. Okay, so this session is for the MPhil, MS, PhD student, again for the purpose to come up to overcome the problems which they would face as a researcher. And it is also very important for the industry experts in order to get the insight about the academician, that what are the different things which you need to consider, since it's not only the research which is related to the academia, it is also related to the industry as well. It's not that we always say that we will be only limited to the academia. We can have a joint collaboration with the industry as well. So we always learn through this way. As Dr. Amjad Shamim has rightly pointed out, that we need to put our own efforts in the right way, and the institution matters, but not that much matters that it will actually make your career or it will destroy your career. It's not like that. So, Dr. Maiza, the same thing is going on in the Malaysia as well. That what is your university ranking and all these things. How about the research projects? Whether we get the research project as a supervisor because of the institution, or it is based on entirely on our own individual efforts?
All right. So basically, yeah, institutions also play a big impact on your research. But as mentioned by Dr. Amjad, basically you yourself and your supervisor are the one who are responsible in managing the projects, managing the studies well. So if you're able to perform, if you have skills required, then yeah, you're able to grow further, you're able to enhance your skills, you're able to add knowledge to your area. So basically, for example, for those who are under scholarships, so
Yes.
some institutions, yeah, the funder require the students to go for higher ranking institutions, yeah,
Yes.
because it reflects the quality of the research, it reflects the image and so on. And basically, institutions also play a big role in a way that if you choose a different university, yeah, for example, in Malaysia, we do have ranking like research university and other kinds of universities. So the what we call it the, not to say the quality, but basically the requirement for a PhD students to graduate from that particular university might be differs from other university.
Yeah.
So you need to check, yeah, all those requirements. You need to check the university ranking and image as well before you further your PhD program. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, very rightly said. Dr. Shahab, as you see in Pakistan, it's a very difficult to get the project funding and the research funding for that purpose. So the student, they are asking the question that what should be the students in the countries where you have a very less collaboration with the industry, and when you have a less that kind of funding for your project. So what should they do? Should they start from their own self-finance, or should they wait for such funding so that they could do their PhD?
I think it's waiting for industry, that the industry will come, and probably that won't be right approach. You should manage this. Obviously it's tough at times, the financial issues,
Yes.
but somehow in a given situation you have to manage your finances, and start whatever you want to do
Yes.
with all the limitations.
Yes.
Because if we'll keep waiting for the industry, that the industry that might not happen. So eventually it will be you who will be suffering, and it will be you who will be unable to achieve whatever you wanted to achieve. So
Yes.
if you're in a given situation, see what maximum you can do,
Yeah.
and you should go for whatever you will be able to do, rather
Yes.
than waiting for the others that they will come and rescue you. So you should try to rely on your own strengths.
Yes.
And because these are external factors, these are not in our control. So
Yes.
maybe something happen, or maybe it not happen. So
Yeah.
mm,
Very
in a
right.
given situation we should be proactive,
Yes.
and we should take at the same time we should not take um, too long to make a decision, because
Yes.
every new day is bringing the new high level of competition.
True.
So if you want to do something, do it now, don't wait for tomorrow or day after.
Yeah.
So
Very.
that's how students should be proactive, and
Yes.
should not delay whatever they want to do.
Yes, very rightly said. Dr. Amjad Shemi, there is a one question from our faculty member who is a lecturer, and she wants to ask one question that PhD is a part-time job or it should be done with the full commitment or full-time PhD? Because she says that we have to work from 30 to 40 hours a week as a lecturer, and if I do the PhD as a part time, then how would I justify my work and my PhD? And at the same time, it is also a financial burden if I lose my job and I just commit myself to the PhD full time. So again, there is a bit things needs to be considered. So she just wants to ask you that what do you recommend? Should I be doing it full time or part time? Or should I quit the job for that? Or should I take the leave? What do you recommend to her?
Okay, well, it's actually very good. Question that most of the people, especially in early days of career, they
Yes.
face, and I face the same.
Okay.
And when we were doing our MS, so we asked our professor the same question, and he
Right.
said it is a full time job. You must go for full time.
Oh, right. Very
Now
rightly
I
said.
will say, yeah. Now I will say, of course, in reality, it's a full time job. It's a
Yes.
full time business. You
Right.
because it takes much time. And again, as I said, that it depends that why you are doing PhD. Is it
Yes.
only for the sake of securing a doctorate name, or it
Yeah.
is for understanding, building, and contributing?
Yes.
So
True.
for understanding, building, and contributing, you need a full time. That is for sure. There is no other, unfortunately, answer.
Yes.
But again, question is that in this word, again, again, you might be thinking why I'm saying limitations, because to me, everything have limitations.
Yes.
It's you who can overcome the limitation. If I share with you my own experience, when I was doing my master MS degree, from 9 in the morning till 6 in the evening, I used to work in industry. And in industry, it's a very hectic job.
Yes.
9 to 6 is I work in industry. From 6 to 9 is my classes for MS. And
Yes.
from 9 to 12, I come back at home and I do my research, whatever I can do. 12, I sleep. In the morning, I go to office. Why?
Yes. Yes.
Because I knew that it is timely. I may sleep less, I may play less, I may, make less friends,
Yes.
not forever, but it is only for a certain duration, 2 years, 3 years.
Yes.
Let me contribute whatever time I can do so that I can enjoy my life after that.
Yes.
And same after my graduation, then luckily I got over here scholarship, and then I moved to a PhD as a full-time student. But even if I'm not a full-time student, I may have to learn a way how can I utilize my other time, which is other than the job, for the research purpose.
Right.
So I will say my answer is that
Right.
number one, prefer to go for full time. Prefer to go for full time
Right.
if you can.
Okay.
But if you cannot, it doesn't mean that you cannot do your PhD. You can
Yes.
still do PhD. You can
Yes.
still continue contributing in research. A bit
Yes.
hard, but a bit challenging, but not impossible. So
Yes.
I will say try to reduce your other activities
Yes.
for a certain period of time.
Right.
Utilize your time for research, and
Right.
it is timely for 3 years, 5 years, 4 years. Just think you're out from your probably community, but after that you will join it back. So
Yes.
that is my intact. That it doesn't mean that you are a full time only. Then you can do. You can do in part time as well, but
Yes.
try to spare time. And number two, in research, it's very important to be consistent. That is very
Yes.
very important,
Very right.
especially if you are a part-time student. The challenge that you will be facing is you are very much engaged in your work, right? So after that you don't have time. You would be thinking, okay, next week over Saturday and Sunday I will spare time, and then next week I will spend.
Yes.
It will not come.
Yes. True.
My advice is, if you are in that situation, every day before sleeping, like a medicine, you take 3 times in the morning and afternoon and evening, you take a
Yes.
half hour for research reading every day. Make it
Yes.
your routine as you do for your prayer. That is
Yes.
also a noble thing in your life, that you are researching something for the community contribution. So
Yes.
every day do. If you forget today due to certain reasons, tomorrow spend half an hour extra to overcome today. If you are
Yes.
consistent, even with a less time, you still will be able to complete. Not
Yes.
only complete, but you will be able to publish, you will be able to contribute.
Yeah, wonderful. Very wonderful answer to that one. One another question. Our student from BB 8 semester, specialization in HR, the Husna Inam, she wants to ask the first. She has two questions from you. That what is the key difference between doing PhD from abroad and from your own country, and why do people prefer doing it from abroad? So, what's your take on that? Dr. Amjad?
Okay, all right. I thought the question is to other. Okay.
Yes,
Yes, this basically reality that some people think, and of course, that is reality, that if you are doing your PhD abroad,
yes,
there are many advantages. One of them is that you are learning in a different culture
right,
from different people into different environment,
right,
so you can get a better experience.
right,
And number two, when you are here, for example, in Malaysia or any other countries, I will say, of course, the facilities, the opportunities of learning, the opportunities of attending training sessions, learning from the renowned people is more than what we have in our own country, in Pakistan, for example.
yes,
So if you are abroad, of course, that is a very good advantage, because you can learn and you can experience and you can enjoy a different culture. So that is a cumulative experience that will not only make you a good researcher, but also that will broaden your avenue of thinking.
hmm,
As in the earlier session, I said critical thinking, one of the important,
aspect,
the characteristic of a researcher. So when
yes,
you are abroad, then you have to develop, and you can easily develop those kind of things, which
yes,
you may not be able to develop in your own country. But
yes,
again, I will say, if we make this one a rule that everyone go abroad, how about the people who do not have that opportunity?
very right,
So those who do not have opportunity, still not to get demotivated, you are still better from many who even don't have that opportunity.
right,
In our religion,
yes,
Islam is a very beautiful religion, alhamdulillah,
yeah,
and it taught us that you always think about the people who are below you,
very right,
not the people who are above you.
yes,
And that is something that will make you satisfied. If
yeah,
you will start thinking those who are if I say today, for example, of course, if I compare myself with the people from top ranking universities,
yes,
so I will be too much demotivated. Oh my god, that
yeah,
person did this, he is from that university. It doesn't mean that that is the only thing that he did and I cannot do.
yes,
Whatever is my circle of time, whatever is my, this word, I can do in a better way. I should do it. So
yeah,
I will say, think about the people, even those who don't have this opportunity which you have,
yes,
right? So
yes,
that will motivate you. Now, the thing about learning, the thing
yes,
about limitations, okay? So better to work in collaboration with the people abroad.
Wonderful.
Now, from knowledge perspective, you
Yes.
are still virtually acquiring the knowledge from the people who are in abroad universities, but
Yes.
from the other side, you are learning from your own culture. So you
Yes.
can still learn, you can still do better. If you get opportunity, go abroad. If you
Yes.
cannot get opportunity, not to get demotivated. You find out the way. There are ways, and we are the humans who will
Yes.
find out the ways for our better future.
Yes, wonderful. Very good suggestion and very wonderful insight of that thing. And I hope it will answer the student. Dr. Shahab, there is one question from you particularly. The student is asking that you did a PhD from abroad and now you are teaching at university in Pakistan. So they just want to ask one thing that have you felt any discrimination that you felt over different places where because you are a foreign qualified and somebody else is a local PhD? So they just want to ask that is there any privilege attached to the foreign qualified PhD or it is more or less same thing?
Yeah, as far as Pakistan is concerned, I I think yes, the foreign graduates are preferred, but again, I would say that does not mean that someone who has done PhD from Pakistan cannot be uh, competent enough. That's why I was, um, in I was asking and I was suggesting and advising the students that focus on quality and skills, right?
Yes.
Because doesn't matter from where you graduated, at the end of the day you will be tested on the basis of your knowledge and skill. So
Yes.
even if you're not getting opportunity to go abroad, that does not mean that you cannot be a good researcher, right? So you can idealize those people who have graduated from Pakistan and their
Yes.
research profile is far better than the people who are graduated from abroad.
Yes.
So you have a lot of example in Pakistan as well. People are doing wonderful, they're doing a lot of good work. So I think at times people are biased about abroad, but
Yes.
as an individual, you can challenge their thought process, right?
Yeah.
If you're good enough, you
Yes.
can challenge and you can, beat this myth or even if it's reality.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. If
It's
you
up to
want to
you.
challenge this thing,
Yes.
people may be biased about foreign or local, but as an individual, you can challenge this.
Yes.
Myth or if it's reality, you can challenge that as well by
Yes.
developing your skills and bringing in quality to your PhD.
Yes, very rightly said. And if I can conclude that question from Dr. Amjad Shamim perspective and your perspective and Dr. Maiza perspective, that it is more inclined towards the individual efforts and their dedication and commitment to this field, and they can grow very well in that perspective. Dr. Maiza, there is one particular question the students are asking from you that mostly people say this the PhD this they say that enjoy the journey of PhD. The question is which they are asking is how to enjoy this hard journey. It's very difficult journey, so how to enjoy this journey?
All right. Yeah, it's a very interesting questions.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, graduate school is stressful. At
Yes.
some point, you might even, you might even questions your own intelligence, your
Yeah.
own ability, and your own sanity throughout the program.
Yes.
But you should be able to enjoy the journey as well. So, how to celebrate and how to enjoy the journey? So, basically, you need to focus on your bigger picture. All right,
Yeah.
what you want to aim, what you want to achieve at the end of the journey.
Yes.
So by having the aim and the focus, so and the right topics that you are currently working on, so you're able to enjoy every minutes, every second of your own PhD journey.
Yes.
And then you should be able to, celebrate success in each of the important points throughout the study. For example, once you successfully defend your proposal, for example, you should be able to celebrate that. You should enjoy the moment, yeah.
Yes.
And another thing is that you should able to what we call it, you should be able to focus on the social connection around you as well, so that you are not feeling alone in this stressful journey. There are lots of support group, there are lots of social groups that you can join physically, or through Facebook or WhatsApp and so on. So that's among the ways for you to not to feel alone, loneliness throughout the journey.
Very rightly pointed out. You can enjoy the small wins, whatever the small goals you are achieving, the proposal defense, the candidature defense, the data collection stage. So it means every path you need to enjoy, and you try to convince yourself that actually you are progressing, and inshallah with the passage of time you will get to the destination on that. Dr. Shahab, you want to add something in that?
I want to add one thing that I mentioned earlier as well. Passion drives the world.
Wonderful.
So if you are passionate about something, go for your, what you're passionate about.
Yes.
Even if it's research, then you will enjoy that. That's the starting point. Don't do something for which you don't have passion, right? Otherwise, you'll be struggling. And PhD is obviously a long journey. So you need to have passion for this. It's not something you can finish in 6 months or few months. It's a long journey. You need to have a strong passion for research. Then enjoy this. I don't think that there won't be any issues. Even if the issues will come, your passion will be strong enough to drive you toward your success. So having passion is first thing to start with.
Yeah, true. Dr. Miser, they are asking one question from you, that what is the role of research group? They want to ask that should you advise the PhD student to, apart from a PhD thesis, they should join the research group and work on other topics simultaneously, or they should only focus on a PhD thesis during their PhD candidateship?
Okay. The role of research groups. So basically, there are lots of research groups available currently, but the focus should be, we can differentiate the focus throughout the personal and also the academic way, meaning that some students they prefer to take advice from their peers who have the same age, for example, so that they're able to learn more from their colleagues and peers. So that's one thing. Another thing is that a research group is important to avoid your loneliness throughout the journey, so that you're able to share something, so you're able to share every success, every difficulties that you are having with your own PhD programs, PhD journey. So by sharing the ideas, by sharing, having a sharing session, so it will keep the student motivated. And they are not feeling alone, because basically everybody will less or not will have the same experience. So they're able to share with their peers and colleagues regarding this enjoy journey.
Yeah, very rightly said. Dr. Amjad Shamim, they are asking you particularly one question, that what was your source of motivation and how to keep yourself motivated in this long journey?
Yes, actually, just now also Dr. Shahab mentioned about the passion. So passion and motivation is very are a basic key of doing your PhD and doing research. Now, how to keep you motivated? I have some experience of knowing some people who were very motivated, but unfortunately, during their journey of PhD, they
Yes.
become, I mean, they got demotivation.
Yeah.
Now, why they got demotivation? Due to certain reasons, sometimes, from supervisor side, sometimes
Yes.
they jump into a topic which actually they didn't love into
Yes.
initially to fulfill supervisor requirement, in order to make university satisfied, in order to qualify their research proposal. They
Yeah.
come up with a topic that can satisfy, but later on when they really went into the topic, then that,
Yes.
from there they started getting demotivation. So
Yes.
that's why I will say you will be motivated if you are working on a choice of your research idea,
Wonderful.
the topic
Yes.
that is interesting, that is doable, that
Yes.
has some promising career, then you will be motivated, you will love to, you
Yeah.
will enjoy that life. But
Yes.
if you jump into those kind of things, then you will be demotivated. My
Yes.
advice is that
Yes.
think carefully. If you cannot think, if I share my experience
Yeah.
before coming for PhD,
Yeah.
I have a good habit to write to some of the renowned people in my discipline.
Okay.
So Bernard Smith is one of the very famous professor in branding actually. So his work is on brand experience, is very famous.
Okay.
I was doing my research and my master degree in brand experience and so forth, brand management.
Yeah.
So before coming for PhD, I emailed to him and I asked that, okay, so far I have done this in a brand experience. This is my plan. Okay, I am asking your advice that how you see the future of this discipline, this specific research topic in 5 to 10 years. Should
Yes.
I go in this area or go for other?
Yeah.
And he replied me very simple, nothing else. He said, look for other topic. Now, then
Yes.
I thought, okay, if this guru is saying, it means that I should go and choose some other topic. Then,
Yes.
of course, I consulted with other people, other professors, and so forth. And I came up with a topic which is of my choice. And then later on, I love into that specific. So
Yes.
I will say, if you are motivated, you will find out the ways and try to try to get a second thought, second opinion from the people who are working into area. It's very easy. The
Yes.
topic that you find out,
Yes.
go find out who are expert into this area
Yes.
in your region, in your country, and globally. Connect with them, seek their advices, get your ideas endorsed. Then
Wonderful.
your motivation will start coming in. You see, for example, my another when I was doing my PhD, so the other topic which I was working, I sent it to one of the very famous professor. His name is Christian Grunrus from Henken School of Economics, and he is the guru of services marketing.
Okay.
Now, when he replied to me, his one actually email was a very good driving motivation for me, because he appreciated in his email that, okay, your idea is good. So that was enough for me. I said,
Wonderful.
okay, now I should go into that. So I will
Yes.
say, you consult to the people who are in your discipline, expert, get their opinion. Then
Yes.
from there, if you get some encouragement from them, it means that you will be motivated. If you
Yes.
don't get encouragement, again, don't get demotivated, because that is a right time for you to change your path, go
Yes.
to find out other path. That is
Wonderful.
my intent.
Yeah, wonderful. It's so wonderful, and I really enjoying this session and listening to you. It just recall me the all the memories when I was searching the different university, which university I should target, and how can I contact the supervisor and all these things. Now it's just a flashback of my all these things, and now I see that how important it is to have a guidance from the people. And one of our supervisor, they used to tell us that PhD is all about the guidance. If you take guidance from different professors, researchers, and different people, so I can see that I wish I could have that kind of guidance when I was doing it. Thank you very much for this wonderful session and your precious time. One last, not the question actually, that would be just a final note of your conclusion. That Dr. Shahab, I would start from you. That what is your message to the student and to the world at large that they should be doing it with the research?
First of all, I would like to mention that Dr. Maiza is my supervisor,
Yes.
and she is a very good, very competent supervisor. And I'll recommend her if anyone interested in doing any research related
Yes.
to her area. I mean, I will
Islamic
recommend.
finances. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Maiza. I mean, she is an excellent prof. She is really
Yeah.
very kind, very helping. So for students, our advice is just, if I mean, in life, we have a lot of options to exercise.
Yes.
Go for something that you feel really doing it right,
Yes.
and don't try to follow others. Like if others are doing something, don't try to do what others are doing. uh,
Yes.
Try to be natural, see your own strengths and weaknesses,
Right.
see where you can be good at, and try to learn from others,
Right.
and be kind to others, help others. So we all are human beings. You need to be good human first, and
Yes.
these are all the secondary thing that whatever we do in our life.
Yes.
So that's why my message is, work hard,
Yeah.
work hard, try to be, don't try to be average or below average, try to be, and reach that an excellence level whatever you do.
Yeah.
So as a human being, putting effort is on our part, and rest is up to Allah.
Yeah.
Whatever is done from Allah's will and is better for us. That's how we, as a Muslim, believe in. So
Yes.
these
Very
are my
nice.
message to
Yeah.
all
Very
the
nice. Yeah.
students. That's
Yeah.
how they should be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Quickly, Dr. Maiza, what is your final conclusion on that? What is your message for the upcoming PhDs and researchers?
All right. I would like to share a few things. All right.
Yes.
So basically, you need to have a good relationship with your supervisor. All right.
Right.
You should be able to be well prepared, hardworking, and have a brilliant mind like Dr. Shahab. He able to he study in 3 years.
On time.
So yeah, I would prefer to have that kind of student.
Right.
uh
Wonderful.
and that, yeah, you should be able to apply a grant. Yeah, you should be
Yes.
able to publish your papers.
Right.
And yeah, you should have a plan B other than
Yes.
academic career for your own study. Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's all from.
Wonderful. Very well, nicely said. Dr. Amjad Shamim, what is your final message to the upcoming PhDs and researchers?
Okay, well, my message to the upcoming PhDs are early, those who are just starting PhD, is that number one is that we cannot avoid now from digitalization. That is something, whatever is your
Yes.
discipline, it's a marketing, it's a human resource management or a finance, we
Yes.
cannot avoid from digitalization. So I
Yes.
will say, earlier I said about developing your skills about the knowledge side, that is concept building and knowledge.
Yeah.
I will also say try to develop your methodological skills. Try to
Wonderful.
get your methodological skills somehow advanced, because now digitalization is everywhere.
True.
So you try to choose your topic that is up to date, that is useful, and that you can survive. Number two is that always think that your our research should have some purpose to fulfill in humans life. So
Yes.
it's not only about publishing. If you
Yes.
get 100 papers in impact
Yes.
factor journal,
Yeah.
and if if you are not able to cooperate or not able to change in others humans life, what will you
Yes.
do with the 100 papers? Huh? So it's
Very well.
it's actually the papers are something, is one side of the coin. There
Right.
are too many things other than that.
Right.
So try to focus, try to be a person who is supportive, who is what somehow contributing to the lives of the people. And number
Yes.
two, always think that in future now universities are changing.
Yes.
Universities are changing, running as a business model. So you
Yes.
must be able to develop some sort of skill that in future you can generate money, you can You can contribute in a training, you can contribute in the industry, so that industry and the community especially can get benefit from your research. It's not
Yes.
only academic and writing and publishing, and then that's
Yes.
enough. Go
Very
for
right.
the areas that can contribute to the society,
Yeah.
contribute to the human's life, and contribute to the organization. That is
Yeah.
my message.
Yeah, wonderful, Dr. Amjad Shamim. Very rightly said, and you have mentioned very important points to the students and researchers. They should consider these points before entering to the this journey, because they have to come up, as you mentioned earlier, that it is going to be very difficult in future to cope up with the situation, and because of the digitalization, they would require so much things to consider. Once again, thank you so much for having you people on this platform. It was a wonderful session, and we are getting the messages of the students that please arrange another sessions with such guest speakers. They are so wonderful, and they don't want to let this session end. But we have, as described, that this session would be only 1.3 hours. So we, because of that limitation, which Dr. Shamim, Amjad Shamim has referred many times, that we have the limitation. So we have the limitation of time this time. But inshallah, we will definitely arrange in other sessions, because a lot of bombardment of message that we are getting, that please arrange another session, because 1.3 hour is very less time to interact with such renowned speakers. So once again, thank you so much for agreeing and giving your precious time to this Kalwas and this noble cause. Because your message is going to the world, and people are getting the guidance which we actually contributing to the world, and it is going to impact their life, and that is going to impact our society and our world as well. Whatever the points you have mentioned, these will help the upcoming researchers to think in a productive way. As you people have discussed, that yes, it is very important to contribute rather than just publish and then go back and give a lecture. Why not to create impact? So this is how we need to improve ourselves and our understanding, that we have to create impact, and this is how the discipline will grow, and at large we will grow as a human. So once again, thank you very much on the behalf of Kalwas, and giving your precious time to us. Inshallah, in the future, we will be having more sessions with you, and looking forward to have you in the other sessions as well. So that comes to the end of this session. Viewers, we will be coming back with the same guest speaker with their convenient time to contribute again in a different topic. We will take, because they are the experts on so many areas, and they can contribute because their level is so high that they can contribute on different fronts. So we will be taking their guidance and their contribution, and we will be seeking their help to grow our students and other people around the world, because it is going live, and a lot of people, I hope they get the guidance rightly, and that will actually change their life. And this is what we wanted from you people. Once again, thank you so much. Take care of yourself, and stay blessed, and stay safe. Thank you, you all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Assalamualaikum.
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Alaikum
you.
assalam. Thank you, Ji. Take care.
Thank.
Take care.
Okay.
Okay.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.
Allah.